Welcome in fellow Bannerlords. Today we are gonna showcase the Smarter Enemy Cavalry mod. What you are seeing now is how the vanilla AI would approach the battle. Brace yourselves, because they are about to lose versus a commander who haven't even touched his formations. The AI is hesitant on sending their cavalry in. And this is normally where the battle is already lost for the poor sturgeons here. By letting their archers get completely devastated in the skirmish phase, we end up in a situation where they simply lose too many soldiers before any swords even clash. Bear in mind that the sturgeons currently are acting as the attackers here. When the cavalry finally engages, the sturgeons get a glimmer of hope. But let us just skip to the final outcome and move forward to the Smarter Enemy Cavalry mod. To show you what this mod does, we are going to take a look at two different battles. In Bannerlord, we have two different types of cavalry, Jav Cav and Shock Cavalry. The first battle is going to be a showcase of Sturgia versus Empire, where we are going to show how the AI will divide cavalry into two groups, Shock Cavalry on the left and Jav Cavalry on the right. The Shock Cavalry will create a devastating charge, breaking formations, while the Jav Cavalry will skirmish from the right and then proceed to behave like Shock Cavalry once they are out of javelins. If we compare this battle with our predecessor, the sturgeons are already in a much better spot, even though they lose a few units initially. This is where your skills as a commander needs to come in handy. Bear in mind that this Empire commander is still not moving any units, and the Shock Cavalry are still suffering a few losses. However, the important aspect here is that we find the sturgeons creating a diversion for their soldiers to engage, and no more losing half our archers before any swords collide. Now we are going to mix the Smarter Enemy Cavalry mod and Smarter Enemy Horse Archer mod to see how they work in unison. Aserai is the only faction to have a full roster that can pull this off. So let us now swap to an Aserai versus Empire battle. We see the Horse Archers initially lead with a short skirmish phase before calculating whether or not they need to go melee if they are losing too many units. Then we have the Shock Cavalry led by some very low tier units at the bottom section. These guys will most likely just create a shock and die off, while the Aserai Faris on the top section will do most of the work. Most importantly, this battle demonstrates how the newly improved AI will annihilate any commander who taunts an opponent by not moving his units at all. Even though the Aserai has a lot less footmen, their infantry now remains alive and has a fighting chance against the enemy due to the improved Smarter Cavalry support. As Tactical Enlightenment would say, this battle is over. Let us now look at how the Smarter Enemy Cavalry mod handles defense. Here we are going to look at how the enemy utilizes cavalry to protect all their flanks, alongside a rear guard that shocks the front if the enemy comes too close. Even though the AI has resorted to the most dreadful circle formation, this battle is looking a lot more promising than what we would see the vanilla AI pull off during a normal defense scenario. At least here, they have a fighting chance. The rear guard ambushes the marching infantry to create a shock that forces the commander to deal with the cavalry before approaching the dreadful circle formation. The AI now carefully monitors the movement of the battle. While the rear guard is a sacrifice it's willing to make, it makes sure that the player cannot just harass the circle freely with pure archers. Other sections of cavalry prepare steadily to engage if the formations break, signaling a charge command when hell lets loose. Coding AI in Bannerlord is very tricky and tedious. Many hours have been poured into the making of this mod, so if you did enjoy the watch, please make sure to show your appreciation by liking the video and clicking the subscribe button. Thank you for watching.